Welcome back to On Tech TV, the home of tech reviews, and in this unboxing video we're going to take a look at Panasonic's new flagship camcorder called the CX350. And the first thing that I've noticed is it's pretty light. Okay, so let's take this sharp knife and just carefully remove the outer packaging. I don't know why they put so much of this stuff in there. I know it protects your packaging, but it's got to do a lot of damage to the planet. Anyway, Panasonic, here we go. There's nothing else in that box. Just move that out of the way. So, okay, HDMI, AG-CX350. A little bit of warning about the lithium-ion batteries. Just carefully take my knife to this. Always be careful doing this because you can damage the things on the inside as well, or yourself. Oh, this is like pass the parcel. We've got another box. Okay. Let's move this one out of the way as well. All right. So, same again. Really careful this time. So this box in the top seems to be the accessories. Let's open this up and show you what I've got. So one of the things I was curious about was the charger. I can see that we can charge two batteries at once, but I also wondered if I could leave it in position and charge the camera directly. There doesn't seem to be much evidence of being able to do that. It's one of the things on the Sony, I can just pick a switch on the adapter and I don't have to use the batteries if I happen to have power there, which is very useful when I'm streaming. Again, I don't see any particular indication, but it may be that this can go straight into the camera, so I'll reserve judgment. Got a nice strap, which I hardly ever use. I don't know if I should be. European adapter. Camera's been bought in the UK, by the way. So that's a UK adapter. It's useful having both though for when I travel to the continent. The battery. So Panasonic specific batteries, which is a bit of a shame because I've got a lot. Oh, you can't see that. So here's one of the batteries. I'll just move a little bit closer. So here's the battery. Panasonic specific, and what I noticed, I mean, it's got quite a nice check button. There's no charge on there at all, so I'll have to charge this up. What I noticed about these batteries is that the battery life is really quite impressive, so I'm looking forward to testing that. I think with this one I should be getting 3 to 4 hours, and there's a much bigger one which is 6 to 7, which is pretty incredible. That's almost a full day's shooting. This is the iCup. And that looks like the connector for the microphone. So one of the issues I've had in the past is things like the Rode NTG3, NTG4, they weren't chunky enough to fit inside this adapter, and I kind of had to make my own with a bit of foam and tape. So pretty happy about that. Let's keep looking. We've got some instructions. We've got some instructions as well. You can get all of this online. In fact, I've been reading them before I even bought the camera, which I recommend as a tip actually, because for years I didn't read the instructions. It makes life harder. Read the instructions. Here she is. First kind of look and feel of it. It's pretty light. I said that earlier, but it doesn't seem to weigh very much. Okay, let's have a look. Right. So we've got the the red detailing. This became a big deal between the GH5 and the GH5S. GH5S has the red for faster, I think. I'm not quite sure. So I've got the different buttons for the audio, and this is pretty standard, pretty similar on most camcorders. Feels a bit plasticky, a bit cheap, but it seems that they move okay, and then you can put this over to stop yourself knocking it. This is the optical image stabilization. So again, I'm looking forward to, I'll do a proper test of this equipment, this camcorder, in another video. But over here I've got my various ND filters, focus assist, so I could just use that to help me get focus without it being on autofocus, so without that kind of popping in and out that sometimes can happen. What else have we got over here? Oh yes, so the OIS optical image stabilization. It's got 5 axes stabilization, which is the same in the GH5. So similar technology, although this is a 1-inch sensor compared to the Micro Four Thirds. If you didn't know, Micro Four Thirds is actually bigger than a 1-inch sensor. So all this terminology that people banter around. Okay, so it's got low, medium, high gain. Not my favorite. I prefer a toggle switch, which is one of the things that you see on the Sony Z150, for example. But before you all rush out and buy that camera, this has got a lot of other features that I think are going to be really good for me. What else have we got here? Oh, different slots in the back. So that's where the camera goes, if you can see this. And here is where I put the 2 memory cards. I've got my HDMI out. Hopefully there's an SDI. Oh my word. That is a bit of a shocker. Oh no, it's over here. I was worried then for a minute. So SDI is really important if you are on the move, for example, because it locks into place, BNC style cable. It also doesn't lose any frames. So for syncing purposes, anybody who's used HDMI for streaming will tell you, for instance, on the GH5, you might lose 5 to 7 frames just because you're using HDMI. SDI can be used over longer distances as well. So this is really important on a pro camcorder. I was actually scaring myself there. And this is timecode. So if you want to synchronize things between multiple cameras, that's what you'd use, timecode. And to answer my question earlier, that's where I'd put the adapter. So if I did just have power, it's absolutely fine. I can plug it into there. I could have a battery in as well as a bit of a backup. Interesting as well that the XLR inputs are in different places. So kind of makes sense actually. So this is the one that you would probably use from the sound desk at the back of the camera. And then up here, if you've got a microphone, you know, a shotgun microphone, you're going to have a little stubby cable going into here. So that does actually make sense to me, quite nice design. And then we've got the display. Now I don't have a battery that's charged, so I can't show you the display, but in my forthcoming video, which will be a review of this camera, I'll show you. But this display is supposed to be quite good. It's one of my bugbears that with a lot of professional cameras in the past, you've had to bring something like a small HD focus or a Ninja, which is kind of a screen that sits on top. Especially for camcorders, it just doesn't make sense. I'd rather the displays were better, good enough to focus on. If there are some differences in the color, I can deal with that. But for instance, on the GH5S, which I'm using at the moment, it can display LUTs. So if you're using log format, that's one thing I will say about this. It doesn't support log at the moment. It supports HLG, so that hybrid log gamma, which is a sort of fancier way of getting colors into modern TV screens. So the blacks look blacker and the highlights look better. So a standard developed by the BBC and NTT in Japan. So what else have we got on here? Well, I think the first thing I notice is certainly with the travel that I do, I can easily pass that off as something that, I've just come to film the family, even though it's pretty advanced. It's got some really nice codec features. It's got NDI if you're into streaming as well. So NDI is a Nutex standard that allows IP video. So basically I could put a Wi-Fi dongle into this, and with a plug-in I can see this camera appear on OBS for streaming. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry, I'll do a separate video about streaming, but it's becoming very current. So this is one of the cameras potentially over Wi-Fi. You could, and certainly as well, I should say LAN, but realistically I think people are probably going to be trying to use Wi-Fi. This is one of the cameras that you would be able to stream with really quickly. So first impressions are very good. It's pretty hard to say without turning it on. It doesn't weigh very much. I like the form factor. Not entirely sure about this thing sticking out the top. I know that's where my microphone goes, but I feel like that's something that's potentially going to knock into things in my bag and maybe cause some damage. Some nice little things there, like just covering the record button, stop yourself from stopping it recording. I've never done that, but I guess you could. So yeah, first impressions, very good. If you enjoyed this unboxing video of the Panasonic CX350, then please click subscribe, because next week I'm going to take this new camcorder out on the road at a major event in London, and I'll be posting a review video as soon as I can. If you're subscribed, you'll be the first to know.